Kuha Rezak, wa Belchigas, Murikas, this is a Hogas, Mag, at Badatia, Ichik Paria. Igak, you all guys could bug in our base. Igak, any Zak, the same Migrish, by the gap to the church. Purio, you put a cut. Weesburg Bug and Blade Station. Each is like it is. Avegados, Oga Chibuka, Malega Oga, Badatia. Maris Agog, any argument by the chair. Mother Pidagio could have. Chugiga, you all go. Malega Oga, Badatia, our charge is Steve. How she gets riches, Korea. Liga Gag with Buggy, we are chasing about charge. If this Bagadi can bug in our bed. Oh, Mashina. My heart is good and I'm singing. Congratulations. Oh, have a safe journey.
So the Nmai Act did two things, essentially. It established the museum, its mission, facilities, governing structure, but it also provided for the repatriation of human skeletal remains and funerary objects in the Smithsonian's collections, which at that time had been exclusively housed in the Museum of Natural History. Prior to that time, the Natural History Museum had voluntarily repatriated remains of named Native American individuals to descendants, but it was really only with the passage of the Nmai Act that repatriation of certain Native American materials became illegal as well as a moral imperative.
My name is Don Simonis. I'm an archaeologist out in southeastern Utah for the Bureau of Land Management. Pot hunting capital of the United States. And we've still got looting going on, unfortunately. It's something we're trying to deal with between education and law enforcement, but it's terrible. So the thing that we need to do is the right thing. And in my mind, the right thing is to put these remains back in the ground, where they came from, as closely as we can.
Lee, when you've conducted significant numbers of reburials, and can you sort of approximate what percentage of that funding to do all of that work came from Hopi and the Pueblos?
Well, we were fortunate to be able to have most of the remains in terms of reburial costs paid for by the federal agencies. You know, the Farm Bill that recently passed has a specific allocation for Nagpra. So with the Forest Services, that's where the money came from, with several forests, particular Coconino, with that amount of remains. The Hopi tribe invests, of course, its resources. You know, me and my staff are on call, and I have one of our cultural advisors on standby too. So the Hopi tribe, you know, gives him some stipend because you know, sometimes we have to stay overnight, that kind of thing. So the Hopi tribe also contributes to the cost as best as we can. I'm always there from the tribe. One of my staff is always available to help as well. So yeah, it's a shared cost, but predominantly the federal agencies have paid for it. With museums, when we coordinate reburials, typically either the tribes or Hopi or the museum goes, if it's a Nagpra, they go to the repatriation grant. So we benefit from that to conduct the reburials as well too.
It's always amazing to me that so-called scientists are so reluctant to change their views on things and even acknowledge that prehistoric peoples that are 1,000 years old are related to people that are living today in the area. Well, I think the greatest thing that's come about because of these laws and acts is that we're talking to one another. All these little regulations and laws that come out force the government to clean up their act and look at things, you know, and see what they've been doing and what they should be doing. And I think, you know, it's a good thing, whether we like it or not. Some government people do not like the fact that we have to talk to the tribes and consult with them on all kinds of things now. But I think it's a great thing.
The American Congress was very clear in the legislative history of the 1989 and 1990 acts about their intention. With respect to certain categories of objects in the native collections of museums, the material was to be subject to repatriation and to the return of legal and beneficial ownership to the originating native communities. In the case of human remains and funerary objects, the basis was pure moral imperative. But museums represent at least a notable chink in the apparent contemporary armor of cultural and historical gloom. In my view and experience, museums as counterpoint to that trend, although not able to do everything, can do something, and a very important something. When he said about the Nmai, "This is a national museum that takes the permanence, the authenticity, the vitality and self-determination of Native American voices as the fundamental reality it must represent." We move decisively from the older image of the museum as a temple with its superior self-governing priesthood to a forum committed not to the promulgation of received wisdom, but to the encouragement of a
Nagpra is a human rights statute.
It is a process. It's a tool.
Level playing field and bring the ancestors back home.
It's about relationships.
Nagpra is civil rights legislation.
Nagpra itself outlines the expectation of tribes and museums.
A reconciliation.
That they were not collectibles, that they were not specimens, but they were ancestors of people who are alive now.